tech name that's getting a lot of attention today, and that's the cybersecurity firm Crowdstrike, surging about 80% after its debut just a few moments ago. It's up about 76% now. Startup uses cloud technology to detect and thwart attempted cybersecurity breaches and first identified Russian ties to the DNC breach during the 2016 presidential campaign. Joining us now in a First on CNBC interview, Crowdstrike co-founder and CEO George Kurtz. George, congratulations on the IPO.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So, company, the IPO priced at $34 last night, with the stock surging more than 75% right now. Do you think it was priced right?
Well, we'll let the market dictate the pricing. I think what we're focused on is really building long-term value for shareholders and obviously making sure that our customers are protected. That's the way we built the business, focusing on preventing breaches for our customers.
All right, so in terms of what Crowdstrike does, first cloud-native endpoint protection platform built to stop breaches. What does that mean, and how does it differentiate this company from what is really a growing list of other cybersecurity firms?
Well, I think what is fundamentally different is that we really built the first cloud platform for security. When you think about Workday and ServiceNow and Salesforce, there really hasn't been a foundational cloud platform for security, and that was one of our goals when Dimitri and I started the company in 2011. This cloud platform has allowed us to stop breaches and to scale different modules that really hit a specific customer need, and it's been well received by our customers.
Now, it's a subscription-based product. To what degree is it just, I guess, tapping into an existing set of tools that allows these companies and you to detect breaches, or how much do you have to constantly either customize what you do or kind of forever revise and enhance these detection tools to stay ahead of these breach steps? I guess I'm trying to get at to what degree this is just a plug into the network and it scales really well, or is it a constant spy versus spy game?
Well, it's really runs on your endpoint or computer or your server or workload in the cloud. And what we found in the past with traditional antivirus, as an example, we do way more than that, is that signature-based technologies were just not capable of stopping breaches. So a big part of our platform is actually collecting data at scale. We collect 1 trillion events per week. We use that data to train our machine learning algorithms, and we can identify attacks and breaches that have never been seen before at the speed of the network. And this crowdsourcing aspect, which is the crowd and CrowdStrike, really has enabled us to identify these attacks that are causing the most damage to large and small organizations around the globe. And they just haven't been able to do that with traditional, I call fossilized vendors that are in the market. And this architecture has really changed the game for us.
So, George, you're using AI for good, right?
Yes.
Keeping companies safe and protecting them, securing parts of the internet. The flip side of that is when AI is used for devious purposes or negative purposes, right? Deepfake being a great example. You have this Mark Zuckerberg video, this deepfake video that is circulating on Facebook right now, for example. How much of a threat is deepfake coming into the 2020 presidential elections and beyond? How do you prevent it? How do you counter it?
Well, obviously security is an evolving area. Adversaries continue to change their tactics, and I think the good part about AI is that you can evolve it to identify these sort of threats, no matter if it's stealing intellectual property or credit card information, or breaking in and destroying data on someone's computer. So I think what's important to realize is that at cloud scale and the way we operate, we have the ability to take all this data, synthesize it, and provide the best protection and prevention methodologies for our customers.
I'm going to send it down to John Fort, who I think has a question for you, George, as well.
Hi, I'm curious about your sales and marketing costs, which are falling as a percentage of revenue, but still considerable. How do you see those costs either stabilizing or maybe even eventually going down as you grow CrowdStrike?
Well, one of the things that we focus on is strong unit economics, and if you look at our growth rates and what we're spending on sales and marketing, we've been actually very efficient in that area. Security, and in our particular area, it's really a greenfield opportunity. There's a lot of frustration with the incumbent vendors, so our sales and marketing spend has really been focused on capturing market share and delivering our solution into geographies that we haven't been in, or into verticals that we didn't have the penetration when we first started the company. So we feel comfortable with the unit economics, and we feel comfortable with the marketing spend given where we are as a company.
What should we measure to understand how the crowd part of CrowdStrike is getting more effective, that crowdsourcing? How are you going to get that crowd bigger?
Well, it's really all about the data, and you hear a lot about AI, and AI is great, but it has to be used in the right ways, and it's not a panacea. So it's easy to come up with an algorithm, but it's really hard to collect this data at scale and be able to train these AI algorithms. And this is really one of the things that we spent a lot of time on, is building a very scalable architecture to get this data in. We call it into our threat graph, which is one of the most advanced security databases around, and it really allows us to get better efficacy and lower false positive rates in detecting these breaches. So in my view, it's all about the data, and we'll continue to get more and more data. It's that network effect, and our threat graph gets smarter the more data we actually consume.
George, I want to get your thoughts on the broader threat landscape right now. I know the company came out with a report earlier in the year that noted that there was an increase in Chinese hacking activity last year in the midst of U.S.-China trade tensions. Have you seen that continue?
Oh, much longer,
and also along those lines, does it make sense for the U.S. to be labeling Huawei as a national security threat?
Well, when we look at the threats, whether it's a nation state, whether it's an e-crime group, obviously the threats are evolving, and they're rapid. There's hundreds of thousands of new pieces of malware that come out every day, and it's incumbent on companies to be able to protect themselves. And it's just been an area that's been underserved because most of the existing technologies have focused on stopping malware instead of stopping breaches, which is, again, part of our core mission.
John, I think you had another question as well, right?
I do. Thanks, Morgan. George, there's maybe no category of tech stocks that runs hot and cold like security stocks. I'm wondering, I want your thoughts on that, and what investors should really focus on metrics-wise to understand the health of the business versus the hype.
Sure. If you look in the past, there's been a lot of point product companies that have come out and tried to solve a specific problem. But if you just step back, the problem that most companies are trying to solve is not being breached. And whether that's network technology or endpoint technology, at the end of the day, we see the tip of the breach being the endpoint. That's where the data resides, the servers, the endpoints, the desktops, and that's what we're protecting. So from that standpoint, if you look back in history, there really hasn't been a foundational cloud company born from the ground up in the cloud. There's been no Salesforce of security. And we think we've taken the right approach and created the right architecture to be that fourth pillar of cloud computing. And that's one of the areas that I think gets our customers most excited. It's the ability to rapidly install our technology, just have it work, and be able to scale with us and use different modules with that single agent architecture. It's made their lives a lot easier, and as I like to say, it just works for them, and that's what customers are looking for.